This is the Backlog Podcast with Kevin Lane, bringing you weekly discussions on gaming as well as quick insights into sports, entertainment, and anything else that they can think of. Be sure to check out the BacklogExposed.com, where you can listen to the podcast and get links to Twitter, Discord, YouTube, and Facebook. Now, gear up and get ready because this backlog is about to be exposed.
We are live, episode number 66, the Backlog Podcast, and today we have two of the founding members of LS5. We've talked about it every single week for the past, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8 weeks, about how LeakySquad is growing and building up, and today we have Acid and Coyote, Wile E. Coyote.
What up?
Known on their real lives as Nate and Colton. You guys are both from Pennsylvania, right? Right down the road from each other?
Right down the road.
Right down the road. So these two come from the northern hemisphere of the LS5 family, and like I said, they started it up. They joined forces with Leaky and Kush, and here we are. Now I'm part of the team and glad to be part of the team, but I wanted to bring them on so that you as the audience can learn a little bit more about where Leaky came from, well, where LS5 came from. So Nate, let's kick it off with you. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing today?
Hey, pretty good. Right before we were out here recording today, I was outside chopping down trees, and I got a little inspiration from Acid today because he had mentioned that he was chopping wood, and I went outside and I said, you know what, I need to mow the lawn, and then I'm kind of spontaneous, so I grabbed a chainsaw and cut down a couple of tree stumps that have been sitting there for a little while. So a little sore, arms feeling a little jello, but I'm not competing in any $3 million tournaments, so it's okay. Acid, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, Finally caught up on some sleep, living the life. Glad to be on the podcast.
Hey, glad to have you guys here. So, you guys knew each other, obviously, prior to onboarding with the LeakySquad, right?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that, like how you guys, how long you guys been playing together. You guys can interrupt each other if you want, talk over each other. It doesn't really matter, real casual.
You want to take it?
Yeah, I got this. So me and Nate go way back, all the way to probably even before Little League baseball.
I'd probably say before.
Yeah, I would say, yeah. We go back a long time, played baseball together, football together. I graduated a year after him in high school and kind of known him almost my whole dang life.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's basically it. Like, it started probably back at baseball, probably, I don't know, like 7, 8. And then
T-ball.
Yeah, like all-star leagues up through Pony, Colt League, and then we were playing football together. So,
well, that's pretty cool. So now we're all working together on something pretty awesome, and I think it could take us into our later years. I mean, I'm already in those later years, but you guys are a little bit behind me here. But it's cool to be able to do that with a friend that you've grown up with, I think. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Especially when you share the love for the same thing,
Yeah, so, and that love is video games, I imagine. So how did both of you get started? Nate, you go ahead.
Well, like I mentioned a few days ago to everyone in Gen Chat, I was on my Time Hop app 6 years ago. I actually was streaming on Twitch. So, I don't know, I've always been playing video games, but apparently 6 years ago, I was pretty into Twitch. And then just a few days ago, I saw it 5 years ago, I was still streaming on Twitch. So it would have been crazy if I would have continued down that path instead of taking a break and going to school.
I mean,
mostly just
funny you
games.
mentioned that. Before I turn it over to you, Colton, I think it was like night 2, the second night that the PlayStation 4 was out, and we were all jumping in on the use the camera and use the what's it called, the app that they had, the Playroom or whatever, and you could kind of go live just like this, And my wife and I threw up the PlayStation camera, and we sat there and we had 40, 50 people just talking to us, just like we're doing now, but it felt so awkward because it wasn't really a thing, And so I would have stuck with it, but at the time I had a t-shirt company, and I brought the PlayStation into my room where I was doing the t-shirts, put the PlayStation up and started recording, or, going live that way, and someone got me banned. So, so right out the gate I was banned from being able to do it. I got pretty discouraged with it, and then just like you, 5-6 years later, here I am, back at it. But, so Colton, how about you? How'd you get started with gaming?
Started with gaming, I'd probably say like back PlayStation 1 days is when I really started playing. I remember like we would hook it up to the big box TV, play like we played a lot of Sled Storm and stuff, which was probably one of my favorite games back in the day. Then it kind of moved on to like Gears of War, Madden tournaments with friends over at their house before football practice and stuff, and then kind of went into a lot of Call of Duty. Actually ended up playing me and my family growing up, we would play zombies together on Call of Duty all the time. And then I got into Fortnite a lot, fell out of Fortnite, and now I'm on the Rocket League kick.
Well, both you guys have pretty high level skill sets when it comes to, I watch both of you play. We all kind of jump into each other's chats and streams and whatnot. Excuse me. So you're pretty good at Rocket League, I'd say. And as we're kind of formulating what we're going to be doing here with all the different areas that we can get into with LS5, I mean, we got just general people playing to play. We got people who are drawing on stream. I'm over here doing Photoshop and stuff like that. But I think we have between Apex and Rocket League, I think we have some really high-tiered players that could start looking at, I wouldn't say jump into esport. We don't have an esports team just yet, but I mean, seriously, what do you think of that as we grow and gain more members who just have, many years ahead of them of gaming and a skill set that can grow as well? How do you envision the esports aspect when we talk about LS5?
Well, personally, I think the potential is there to take it. I mean, honestly, as far as we put the effort into it, I wouldn't say. I mean, like me personally, I feel like I'm decent at Rocket League, but I don't think I'm at the point where I could go play professionally or anything close to that. But I'm saying there's a lot of good Rocket League players. I'll speak on that since that's pretty much what I play. Yeah. But I do think I think the future would be to start like getting people playing together and then slowly entering these smaller tournaments to see how we push ourselves upwards and then ending up moving into esports along the way. I still think it's a far ways down the road, but with all the members that we have joining and the talent with different games, I feel like that potential is higher and higher each day,
I 100% agree. And Nate, what about you? Like, when do you see yourself ever trying to go that route, or more of
absolutely
manage it all?
Absolutely. But we definitely have talent in this Discord.
Yeah, for sure.
We definitely can be starting to look into getting into some smaller tournaments, because I definitely think we have the talent to win some of these smaller tournaments and hopefully just be building off them. And then I start to get into like a little bit bigger, maybe more inclusive contests, tournaments. But yeah, there's our definite strong points are definite Rocket League and Apex. I think I'm the only person in this community that plays Fortnite.
No, I do too. I just haven't played any video games in so long. It's kind of funny you mentioned that. But speaking of Fortnite, you hosted today the finals of the World Cup. And, on my podcast, I talk about this quite a bit. I mean, I talked about it when the day they announced that they were going to have a World Cup. And for me personally, that's something I have no problem sitting down and watching. Is getting all these dings in my ear. So I have no problem watching the competitive Fortnite. I think to me, it's I get as into it as I do a game of football. And so tell us what happened today. I mean, it was pretty significant in the realm of gaming as a sport. Highest payout ever.
Fortnite, the solo competition tonight was it was on a next level. with $15 million sitting on the line to spread across 100 people and $3 million being the top prize, being the largest single prize that someone's ever won in an esports event. It was absurd. There was so much on the line every game. You could tell the frustration when people died early. Watching these kids go at it, they said multiple times to the stream, the average age of competitors over the last 2 days was 16. So imagine being 16 and being having the chance to win $3 million. That's life changing at 13.
That's what's crazy is the average age being 16. I mean, really, when you think about that, 13 years old was the youngest, and there was a kid, the youngest on the tournament, and I think they said he was really close to the minimum age like possible. And that kid made 10th place, I think. Age. But I mean, I think he was at the low end of 13 too. They were saying.
Yeah, absolutely, and he won $900,000.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's
13 years old, and we were talking about it before we went live. I mean, obviously, his parents have to probably help him deal with the money or whatever. But that's just a hell of a lot of money, and the package deal. The people who made good amount of money went pretty deep. I mean, everybody made at least $50,000. But you have to think about it. There were millions of people who entered this tournament, and anybody could. My kid, I entered it technically, but competitively, they really narrowed it down a couple weeks ago, and then over the last 12 weeks, they've thinned it out to the top 100 in the world. And then you have this 16-year-old kid just walk up and take it. I don't think I've ever heard of that. Heard of him personally.
I'm not sure if you heard of how many people actually competed in this. They said over 4 million people competed at some point in the 10 weeks.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy the way that the gaming community is going? That, I mean, like, you think about it, when we started playing video games, that wasn't even a thing, Yeah. Like, well, it was, but to the extent that it is now.
Well, that's the funny thing. I was technically gaming before Nintendo came out. My dad had the Atari and everything, and I've been playing games since I was 3 or 4 years old, technically. But all my life, all the way up until just a couple of years ago, everyone would say you can't make money gaming, so focus your attention elsewhere. And it's quite a bit different these days. You can't say that to your child. Not only can you not say that to your child, but children are the ones who are kicking ass in these games. You guys are both in your 20s, right? And so normally you'd say someone I just turned 39, so I'd say, wow, you guys are in your prime. Well, no. I mean, you guys are already past the average age of the best players in Fortnite. You're over the limit now, you know what I mean? And so, not that you couldn't do it, but there's just something with these games, the way that the brain is connecting to them. When I was a kid, the Pentium processor hadn't existed, and then it came out, and it was like, holy shit, look what we can do now. We just had a calculator as a watch, and now we have full blown, the avenues to get information have been streamlined so much that maybe the kids of today, the 15, 16 and under crowd, don't have to worry about a lot of the shit that I had to worry about as a kid, you had to worry about as a kid. And so it might be easier to connect and understand these games at even if it's just a hairline of an inch. That might be what makes or breaks, and so they don't have to worry about all this other stuff. Or maybe it's just that they can play longer because they get out of school and don't have any obligations until they go to bed. You know what I mean? So I don't quite know, but it's pretty obvious to me that that the playing field is. I mean, I don't think there was any 35-year-olds in the entire tournament. I mean, I could be wrong, but it just seems like this is it's the age of the youngins, and they're coming to prove themselves, and I love seeing it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, for sure, dude. I mean, like I said, it's just a whole different world right now, and I think it's awesome to see where it's going, and like I said earlier, the potential that it has.
For sure. So, Fortnite's opened the door, right? We know Apex is pushing really hard. They got EA behind them. Rocket League is also taken off in the esports realm. And we talked, Wiley just said just a minute ago, those are the two strongest areas in LS5. And while it's probably down the road, you know, I want to just say to those of you out there from LS5 who are, you know, thinking that that's a route you want to go. I know a lot of people desire that, you know, just to make a name for themselves. We got Unruly. He was on the podcast a couple months ago, or probably about 2 months ago, and he is currently playing, you know, esports for Call of Duty. He's running tournaments, and he just casted his own tournament, and so you know, it's amazing to see that this is actually an avenue people can go. You know, it might start off as simple as making enough money to afford a new video game every month, but it can, as you can see today, you can make $3 million. You know what I mean? That is now a possibility. Maybe that's the highest that it will ever be, and maybe this will never happen again. But I don't think so. I think it's only going to get bigger, and I think it's only going to be more accessible for people to get into it, especially in November when because streaming and what we're doing is a major factor in this, right? Kids they're not just playing; they're playing to impress, and they're playing to show off and get followers and viewers and make some cash. And so, I just foresee that this whole landscape is going to just continue to grow and flourish. And don't miss out on November, because Google's getting into the game, and it's going to be big.
When it comes to that prize pool, like Fortnite definitely opened the gap for what esports can be potentially. Yeah, I could see within a year Rocket League is really going to take off, because Epic now owns Rocket League.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Epic just bought up Rocket League.
Those
Psionics.
When did that happen?
Tournaments are about to blow up. Like
about a month and a half ago.
Mm-hmm. They're really crazy.
Well, then,
they
if
have
that's
the
the
power
case,
to host large events like that, I think it's going to bring new light to Rocket League.
Yeah, for sure. Let me just take a quick moment here as we're filling up in the chat room here. I just want to point out one thing. So, we have Nate and myself. We both have a video camera. Acid, he's been trying for like the last hour and a half to get his camera to work. It just doesn't. It keeps freezing. So we said, don't worry about it. So we just got his awesome logo right there in the center of the screen. For those of you who are listening to this just audio only, don't worry about it, right? Because you can't see it through your radio unless you have like one of those Android radios that has a video on it. So, anyways, yeah, we'll do an ASMR podcast one of these days.
Thank you.
There it is.
That'd be kind of creepy if we all the ASMR podcast.
If we all start whispering into the mic.
Yeah, shout out Drose.
Yeah, absolutely, Drose, man. How you doing today? Yeah, and for those of you just listening audio, every week, what I'm trying to do is do the podcast video mode here on Twitch. You can follow us, twitch.tv/thebacklogpod. We are the official podcast of the LS5 community, and something that I'm pretty proud to be a part of, because prior to this, Joe and I put a lot of effort into getting this podcast standing and building an audience that, people that wanted to listen. And when you first start out on a podcast, you're just begging friends and family to click like. And it's finally gotten to a point where it feels like there's people listening because they want to, and since I've joined LS5 and people are reaching out personally and letting me know that they like listening to it, or that was a cool thing we talked about. And I got a really good amount of feedback on the Reaper interview. He's going for partner. I haven't seen an update. I don't know if he's still pending. Do you guys know?
He said he is.
He's still pending. Okay.
Back, but
yeah, I think it's still pending.
So yeah, I mean, maybe it's just the fact that it's the weekend, but we're really pulling for him. He's just an amazing member of the community, and that whole interview, while the video froze, it proof in the pudding that you don't need video to have a good interview, because I've got a lot of good feedback on that particular episode alone. So here we are. We're 2-3 months into LS5's growth. We're looking at maybe 600 members by the end of the month, potentially, right? Getting close to it.
That's the goal.
That was a pretty lengthy stretch goal I think you guys made, and it's about to possibly be hit. How does that feel?
It's great. That was a 250 member add-on from just July. That's what we were aiming for. We wanted 250 in the month of July.
Yep.
We're so close.
And I mean, 250 members in July. We're over here, for those of you who don't know the process of how to run these communities, we're learning as we go, but at the same time, we have a bunch of people who have really, really good mindsets. So it's like where I lack, other people are picking up, and where they lack, other people are picking up. And when you have 5, 6, 7, even 8 people, moderators and board members and the original founding members, and we're all putting this all together, it's like, it seems like it's running like clockwork. And a lot of times I've done things where I put a lot of work into something personally, but I'm doing it mostly by myself. And, I'll be scrambling like, oh shit, I forgot to do this or I forgot to do that. And this community, we're a community within a community because, we're trying to build up upon what we've got going. We're trying to think about the future and all that stuff. And we're working together, and it's going really, really well. Like, I couldn't have asked for it to go any better personally as I joined on. To see that we've achieved 250 members in the month of July, and here we are worried about activity and making sure people are happy being part of our community, I'd say we're doing pretty damn good, because that's 250 members who are active. Maybe some people will only check it once a month. Other people might check it 50,000 times a day like me. But, there's going to be a bell curve to the activity levels of the people in the Discord. There's going to be people who join once and never come back. And we have a lot of good ideas as to how we can keep people coming back and wanting to come back to the community, wanting to have the LS5 logo down the bottom of their Twitch stream. But what do you guys envision the rest of 2019 looking like?
Well, for me, I feel like you said, the 250 members in 1 month was kind of a goal we set. We were like, this would be a good goal, but let's we kind of set it a little bit lower at first. And then we were like, you know what, let's just make it an even 600. Let's try to push the limit and see how far we can take this. And every day there were some days where the numbers didn't go up or whatever. And we're like, we kind of slacked today, but we would set, every morning we would message each other, and we'd be like, hey, we need to get this many members today. Like, we got to try to push this many members. And the numbers just started taking off. And then we started helping Reaper and getting in Reaper's community active and stuff. And then his community, which is an amazing community, just kind of fell over kind of into ours. And we got all these amazing people who have just been here helping us get through this and stuff. So yeah, I think just the possibilities are endless for the rest of the year, and TwitchCon's gonna be huge for us.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, we're all going to TwitchCon. I mean, I know Joe's trying, so I don't know if Joe's gonna make it, but when it comes down to the mods, the leaders, holy Christ, Joe, say thank you so much, man, for the bits.
Jose is naughty.
Jazzy. Well, you've excluded
Jazzy.
Yourself.
Jazzy, if I hit the lottery, I'm bringing
Drose, you said you were going. You said you were going. Are you going? Is Drose going?
Drose is going.
Drose is for sure going.
Okay, he put a question mark. Of course he's going. All right. Jazzy, I'm sorry. But you're overseas, so, you don't count. But
EU, we're coming to EU next.
Yeah. Well, the goal is next year we've done well enough with LS5 that somebody flies us all out to the EU TwitchCon. That's where we're going. You do count. I'm just kidding, Jazzy. I'm just kidding. But, a lot of people, we have a group that is, I think we have 8 to 10 people right now. I know it's going to grow between now and, now and when we actually get there, but we're going to be bringing merch with us. We're going to be bringing t-shirts. We're going to be bringing a lot of energy, and I really do think that we're going to make a big impact when we get out there. And plus my beard, I'm not shaving it till then. And so I don't know how big it's going to be, if it's going to be much different than this, but I'm hoping it's down to like here, And so, if you have a bald dude with a beard, you never know what's going to happen. And that's the goal. So tell me, Wiley, the emote system here, right? We're all waiting on our emotes. We're all waiting for Twitch to approve things. Did you ever think, so when I'm trying to explain Twitch to people and what subbing is all about and what the big deal is about, like, people say, why spend $5 on you, right?
Man,
can you explain that process? I could, but I would rather you talk about it a little bit.
I never expect anyone to sub, but what I always pitch is, don't waste your $5 on me. But if you do want to waste something on me, you got this wonderful thing called Twitch Prime.
Yep.
And in case people listening don't know what Twitch Prime is, if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can connect it to your Twitch account. And you can give your favorite streamer a free $5 subscription every 30 days for zero cost. And it's the greatest thing they can do for you. I always push Twitch Prime to everyone I know.
Yeah, I'm kind of on that kick right now, just reminding friends and family, like, if you got 5 minutes, and Twitch makes it a little bit of a pain in the ass, because you would think you could just log in with your Amazon account and not have to do all this linking, and for people like my dad, probably take them 2 days to figure it out, just because it's not as easy as it should be. But the whole concept, I think, the biggest point to me that has come around this whole emote system, and as you look in the chat, like, people are just constantly using them, is you're showing off your community. You're showing off your some emotes are just so badass that you want them in your inventory to use when you're, on somebody else's stream or whatever. But obviously, yeah, it's the support of the person. There it is, Acid. See, there you go.
I think I have one emote that keeps my subs coming back.
Yeah, that heart emote, man, is the Wily Heart.
That brings people back.
That's why I wanted to lean on you a little bit, because you got a specific emote that people will go anywhere, but they want to have certain reactions, right? Because it's fun. It's the way that the world's working. Emotes are easier than a text message, and a text message is easier than a phone call, and a phone call is easier than showing up at someone's doorstep. So, what's going to be next? Who knows? But emotes express a sentence or an emotion all in one little picture, and we get to customize those things. We get about 5 of them if you get to a certain point, and basically you can do a whole lot with an emote. You can, like I said, you can show love to a community, a person. You can show your reaction to something, and so the more of these emotes that you can collect, the more reactions you have. And so it's a really interesting way. It took me a little while to wrap my head around it. But also, in the whole scheme of things, what's $5, right? Mm-hmm. You could go out to a bar and spend $7 on a beer and have 12 of them in one night. Or you can stay at home, have a couple of Bud Lights, give a few friends $5, and have their emotes, and have a good time doing it. And so it seems a little weird. I think, I always talk about this, I think I'm on the cusp here. I was born in 1980, and when I went to high school, there was no Google. And then my freshman year of college, there was Google. And so it made for a very interesting college career, because even at the beginning of Google, it wasn't what it is today, but it made things a hell of a lot easier. My freshman year, I literally had to go use a card catalog. And then after freshman year, those things really didn't exist anymore, or, you didn't have to use them. And so people older than me have a hard time wrapping their heads around this whole community-based Twitch, broadcast yourself live, why would anyone care type of mentality. And everyone younger than me seems to grasp it very easily. And then there's this in-between of the people who are just around my age, graduate in 1998, maybe 1999, who are on the fence, like they kind of understand it, just not into it. Or into it, but it's past their time, so they're not really going to get into it.
Backtracking a little bit to the emotes, like when I went and designed my emotes, when I went and got them made for me, that's exactly what I tried to do with my emotes. I wanted to be able to express like something to happen. Like you have the choke emote for if I mess up. You have the mad for if I want to put my hand through my desk. You got the hypers for if I actually do something cool, which is very rare, but it happens every once in a while. And then you just have the heart to show love to whoever comes back and supports you. Yep. So I wanted to be able to tell like a slight, like give my viewers a chance to react, something to move the stream along.
For sure. And Acid, I know you're waiting on a couple getting approved, right? We were talking about that.
Yeah, I have a couple in the works, just waiting on it. It's been like 2 weeks. And feels like it's taking forever.
You got some teasers?
No spoilers, dude.
No spoilers. But are you excited to release these things out?
Yeah. I actually paid. I paid and got a good designer to do them, so I'm pretty pumped for it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I actually went along and I decided to take. I don't know who all used this guy, but I know Kush did. Who else? Wiley, did you go through the same guy that Kush did to get your logo?
I have my own plug.
Okay, so I'm not plugging him yet. He hasn't made anything for me yet. He just did a quick sketch, but I hate paying for anything. But as the community grows, and I got some subscriptions and things. I am not afraid to give back into the community, even if the community technically is the people outside of, the people were going to get these logos built and whatnot. And so
that was
I really
thing I was adamant about doing as soon as I hit the sub goal to get a new emote slot, I put in a new thing because I wanted to give back to who's supporting me. I wanted to be able to be like, here, you get here's my emotes.
100%. Yeah, that's what it's all about is giving those people the slots that, to use that stuff elsewhere. So I got a couple. They're pending as well. When I talk on my podcast or when I am doing my late night streams, I just start going off on tangents. So I got a tangent emote coming, and I got a couple of other good ones coming up. Hopefully, they resemble this a little bit with the bald head. So hopefully, I got a little inspiration from
pending.
Reaper. You got one pending right now?
People in the Discord knows what it is because it's in the Discord. But it's going to be in my channel soon, so when we go and raid people here soon, we'll be able to show some
awesome.
LS5 love.
Well, I gotta say, and I don't see, I'm keeping an eye on the chat, and I don't see him. I think it's probably because he's dodging Jimmy, but I don't see WWF out there. And the Alpha, there's a bit of a thing going on between my cousin Jimmy and Alpha. And to be quite honest, I think he's dodging him. I do. I love Alpha. I think he's a great guy. Very funny. He does a lot of really good streams, gets a lot of good clips. But one thing he hasn't done is signed his own contract and sent it over to Jimmy T. And so my tier 3, this breaking news, tier 3 emote is going to be Jimmy T. And so that's for all of you who just feel
I've seen a preview. It looks amazing.
I have my Wiley Rich.
I figure, tier 3, who's going to spend $25 on me, right, per month like that? But Jimmy, that's a different story, okay? So if you're going to go out on a limb, don't do it for me, do it for Jimmy. He needs the money, and, he's got to get some new teeth, some braces, maybe, I don't know. But anyways, let's talk for a quick second about WWF, the Alpha, and what this type of thing can... Actually, let me rephrase that. My buddy Darren and I were talking prior to me doing the whole network thing, and really starting to stream. And I had this idea. And this goes back a year ago when I was streaming before. I just sat there and I said, I'm going to have a couple of different characters that I'm going to stream with, try to be funny, try to do whatever, and because I know my skill set isn't high, so how do I keep people coming back? Well, then I bought a wig, sunglasses, got myself all ready, started browsing Twitch, and came across Dr. Disrespect for the first time, and I had literally the exact same wig. And I was like, fuck, this guy is doing it. Oh, he's famous too. I didn't know. I was new to Twitch, and at least new to many of these top tier people. And so, my whole idea was shot down the tubes. And then I was like, I'm going to get a green screen outfit. And the only thing I want exposed is my eyeballs and my mouth. Everything else is going to be see-through green screen. And then I came across a guy named Pay Money Wubby. And while he's a little crazy with it, he's doing the exact same thing, and I was pissed off. And so I just streamed myself playing Fortnite. I didn't have a community to communicate with, and I got 0 people watching me. I didn't even know the trick that you can watch yourself and get a view out of it. And I stopped streaming. There was just there was nothing into it. I didn't have a whole lot of energy into it because it was kind of discouraging to stream to nobody. So I stopped and I waited a while. And then Joe and I did the podcast and we talked about it. And I said, we both wanted to stream again. So it was just when. So I knew I was moving. I built the studio and it was just the timing. And then we met you guys. And so here we are, right? Now we're streaming this live and we're doing all that. But I still have my concept and my idea of having different characters play different games. And then I come across WWF and he's doing it. And so I'm not going to let that guy take this idea from me this time. And so Jimmy T is coming for him. But the truth of the matter is, he's a really funny guy. He's a really nice person in outside of his character life, and I'm glad to see that people are actually taking what he's doing and enjoying it. And so, what do you guys think of that type of stream? Do you enjoy it? Do you go back for more? You enjoying what he's got going on?
Oh, I absolutely love it. I always go in there and I'm just like, I'll just watch him. I don't chat most of the time, but he's just so funny. Everything he does is hilarious, man. I just love it.
Yeah,
It's something else.
The people who act on streamer, it's like a whole different category. Like I've watching Dr. Disrespect though, like he's on a whole new level.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because he has the audience to be able to pull off the whole new level, but like his transition seems just like make it to the next level. His flip phone calls and they're just hilarious.
Yeah, his little, I love his phone booth and the mirror on the wall sketch that he does where he's looking at himself in the, I mean, well, we have the skill sets to do that here. You know, I don't want to rip him off, but we, you know, through a bunch of us, I know that's the stuff I'm building for, is to be able to have cutscenes and things. Because let's face it, all right, a lot of people are going to be streaming to nobody. You have to work. If you want an audience, you have to work at it. You have to give them a reason to come back. And it's either going to be your skill set, your personality, your looks, or a combination of all three of those things, or something that catches them outside of that. Maybe you're famous. Maybe you're sponsored by G Fuel, right? Maybe you're sponsored by Jolt Cola.
Your people talk to my people type of thing.
Yeah. But one of the benefits, and I've talked to a lot of people about it, and some people actually, they pulled back and they're not interested in the network concept because they don't quite get it, right? They don't want to, they're already working on their own thing. It's a lot of work just to keep your own channel going. But the benefit of having something like what we do is that you can make connections with people, and then you can go join their streams, and then they can join your streams. They might raid you. You might raid them. But someone like WWF, the only reason I know he exists is because of Viking, right? Vikings comes into my stream last week or 2 weeks ago, and he gives a couple subs. And I see one of the people who got the sub was WWF. I'm a wrestling fan, so I saw the name. I pulled his stream up live while I was streaming, and I couldn't believe my eyes. I was like, what is this fucking guy? Look at this guy. He's hilarious. I pull up his YouTube. His YouTube had like 4 views on his videos, like nothing. And they had been out there for weeks. And I was just like, holy shit, this guy's like an undiscovered legend. I can't wait to, to share him with everybody. And obviously, it's not just me. A lot of people saw him. I guess he inadvertently raided Kush and got a little bit of notoriety there. And I honestly see, it's just a month. Right? Where is he going to be if he keeps it up and really loves what he's doing, puts the passion into it? It's going to continue to grow. He's got a network behind him. He's got people who are talking about him. There are people who are coming in, but they might feel like they already got the affiliate, right? They're working on part. Maybe they have 50 viewers every time they log in, which is more than a lot of us. But this network, maybe it's multiple networks, but this is what gets you over the hump. This is what gets you into the next level territory. And so when you turn down a network because you think it's too much work, then maybe it's not for you, right? Maybe the whole thing, because when you're Ninja or, Tim the Tapman and you have 20,000 to 50,000 people, you still have to do your part to try to connect with that audience. Even though you can't on an individual level, you got to make those people feel like you're there for them individually so that they keep coming back, especially when you're no longer at the top. Like Ninja made it because he was the best. But now look, he hasn't won anything significant since Fortnite competitive really took off. So he's got to keep, yeah, exactly. Tifu's pulling in 100K. But he lost today. He lost pretty bad today. And so I have no doubt that Tifu will continue to play well and continue to succeed, but then you got this guy that came out of nowhere today. Maybe if he had a personality, he might be the next Twitch sensation, and Ninja will be knocked down another peg. Maybe not, because Ninja does have a personality. Tifu does have a personality. And so what we're doing here in our community, we're growing fast. but we're able to work with people. I don't have all the answers. I'm a freaking old man who's learning from you guys, but we all work together, and those of us who are willing to learn and willing to grow and really want it, I don't see why we can't. As a community, we're thinking of things that can put us all out there in front of everybody. We got the podcast, we got the different Instagram story, the accounts. Everybody here has an Instagram, a Twitter. You all have your own followers. And so our reach is massive. Our reach is massive, even with 550, 600 people. Some of us have 50 to 100 people on our Instagram. Others have 10,000 on their Instagram or on their Twitter. We got Reaper out there tearing it up. Just massive. So 6 months from now is going to be a different ball game. Which leads me to you, Jolt Cola. I've been drinking you for almost 30 years. And for real, true story, when I was a kid, I would spend every penny I had on Jolt Cola. I had hundreds and hundreds, and I saved every can. And then Jolt Cola kind of just went away. They just weren't into it. I think the Monster Energy drinks and all these other ones, Red Bull came along and just kicked their ass. Jolt, I don't know if the management or whatever in Jolt Cola was ever strong. I don't know, like when it comes to like marketing and all that, but they just let these people come and run right over them. And so one of the things that Jolt always has pitched is that they have all the sugar and twice the caffeine, as it says right here on the can. Well, this is my challenge to you, Jolt. I bet there's very few people in the world who represented the Jolt brand like I did back when I was 16. And now you see these 16-year-olds and they're rocking $3 million off of Fortnite. Well, I'm going to be repping the Jolt Cola brand because I think you do have the balls to sponsor me. I think you do. I think you can look at the Leaky Squad community and you can say, I want to represent each and every one of those people. And I think you're going to make merchandise for us at TwitchCon with this logo on it. And I think you're ready to step up to the plate against Red Bull. And I think you're ready to step up to the plate against Rockstar and Monster and say, fuck you. We're Jolt Cola. We're the original. We were in Hackers, the movie, the main movie about geeks playing on computers. So fuck you, all you 3 other companies who think you're better than us. We're the best. We're the first ones. We're the OG. And we're representing the Leaky Squad. I expect the call. I sent you an email with all my information. I'm going to send you this video. And while we're here right now, I'm going to drink a Jolt Cola.
Tasty stuff over there, isn't it? Oh, he's really going for it.
That's going to hurt. I almost got
I kind of have something to say on the whole topic you were talking about, how like starting out and the networking aspect of everything. It's kind of crazy to think about it now, but like everybody when they first start out streaming, they have like everybody starts out streaming to nobody, like you had said earlier,
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it's crazy. I spent like 4 or 5 months streaming to literally 0 people. It's like you, I didn't know that you could do your own little thing. And then Nate came over, kind of helped me out and gave me a boost to affiliate pretty much. And then I met this guy off of Twitter who streams on YouTube. He's a good guy. His name's John Kratz. And every day he was in my stream and stuff. And he kind of got his own little thing going on right now. And then just one random day, like just this whole networking aspect of everything, Kush popped in, and Cushy, he just sat there for like 2 hours and talked to me. And it was like the first person that literally watched me the whole time. And it's crazy to think like if he wasn't such network minded, that the whole thing, this could be a whole different ball game, at least for my part of it right now. Like if he didn't come in there, I would have never went to his stream. They would have never told me about the Discord. Nate wouldn't be in the Discord. Like it's just be a whole crazy event. So like the networking aspect of everything is huge,
It absolutely is. And I mean, look, I have this conversation with a lot of people I know about having the time. Sorry, I got a little bit of soda in my belly. Having the conversation with people about having the time to do this. Obviously, if you're committed to your work, your job, and your family, there's so many things. Life is tough these days. They make it pretty impossible to not, it's tough to have the time to do a lot of extracurricular activities. I get the benefit of, I work from home a lot, so I don't have to worry about the time spent commuting. At the same time, I'm off on Fridays personally, so I can spend a little bit more time there. But I also, personally, have this is the kind of stuff I do, the networking and stuff, and you guys seem very good at it as well. No, not right this second. Because I'm streaming and you're in your underwear. Wesley likes to come onto the stream. Go put on pants. Then you can come give me a hug. Yeah, we don't need none of that. So, anyways, the networking aspect, which you just mentioned, Kush, and his brother, Leaky, is just, they're very good at it. You guys are very good at it. You're not afraid to reach out. You guys, everybody's just in each other's streams and talking and, being a part of the community. It does take time. But if your goal is to make money, I like to ask this question when you're on Twitch and you're trying to succeed. What is your goal? What is your end goal? Do you want to be Ninja, the number one, Tifu, the best player playing the best game, whatever it is, and the number one guy out there? Is that your goal? Or is your goal to have 30 to 40 people watching, making a little bit of money on the side? All right, Wesley's coming in to say hi real quick. He's got to say goodnight. Come here, bud. Say hi to everybody.
Hi.
Run the podcast for a minute.
What is your favorite video game?
Right now, my favorite video game is Rocket League. Play it every day, about 4 hours a day. Unless I'm working, because I work crazy hours, but Rocket League is it for me.
I
You
love
like Rocket
Minecraft
League?
right now. I'm on a big Minecraft kick again.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those games where I'm ready to get back into it, and I want to get everybody I can to be in it too.
What's your favorite song?
Oh, favorite song. Oh, that's a hard one.
That's easy for me because it just came out, but I'm a big NF fan, and he just released his new album, The Search, and the song Only on The Search is my current favorite song.
I'm going to give it to MMA Marks over there with Old Town Road. That song slaps.
Oh my gosh.
What's your favorite song?
What's that?
Old Town Road?
Yeah.
You want to sing a little bit of it for everybody? Because
Yeah.
you're getting people asking you in the chat.
Take it with your heart. Up and in the valley, you get up in a horse. Can nobody tell me nothing? You can't tell me nothing. Can nobody tell me nothing? You can't tell me nothing. Riding in a tractor when I am a blanket. DVD on a blanket. You can go up. Nobody tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. Nobody tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing.
Good job, bud. All right. Well,
You crushed it. Good job.
yeah. Thank you.
No.
Thanks for coming and stealing the show from me.
I love you.
You didn't steal the show? All right. Well, give me a hug. All right, go to bed.
Okay.
Love you.
Okay.
Oops. All right. Say goodbye to
Bye.
Colton and Nate. Say bye, Colton. Bye, Nate.
Bye, Wesley.
Bye.
Buddy.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, bud. All right. That's the life of a dad. Sometimes you just can't stop it. I put a lock on the door, they break the lock, But, anyways, right, I'm going to, he's going to Hollywood, not me. Did I lose you guys? You there?
No, I'm here.
Okay, there we are. Sorry for the sidetrack, but, we do what we got to do. One of these days, a producer's going to listen to my podcast and, life will change, but, man, that jolt goes down strong, nice and smooth. I think, that'd be pretty awesome. I know that it's probably unlikely that Jolt Cola will respond, but I am really, truly reaching out. I think, whoa, we lost Acid.
Hey,
He's back. But as our community grows and as we have a bigger reach and as we we have people are going to show up who have high skill sets and all of that fun stuff. There are going to be companies that want to get involved. There's interesting mix of companies that are already involved, from Dr. Pepper to Chipotle to Red Bull. And I think actually at today's event, Nike made the jacket. I don't know if that was just a one-time thing, but they might be getting involved as well. And so companies like Jolt could really, and I'm just saying this completely honestly, like a company like Jolt jumping into the mix and saying, we are the OG, put a bunch of money into the marketing angle, all the sugar, twice the caffeine, keep you up all night so you can stream all night. It makes sense. It truly does. And I would 100% be down for whatever it took to put them back on the map, because when I was a kid, I was stupid about it. I every day I'd buy a Jolt Cola at the store before school. I'd chug it, and then I'd be there all day, ready to go. It'd wear off for, as school was winding down, I'd grab another one, I'd chug it again. Not the healthiest stuff to drink, but at the same time, does the job. Oh boy, so Nate.
Yeah.
What do you see? I know we talked a little bit about this, but I want to get into this because November's coming up. We're already at the end of July, and I know you and I talked a little bit on Discord about the Google Stadia, right? And you seemed a little bit. Hold on, let's see if we can get Colton back. Here he is. All right, Colton's back. He got booted off, but we're getting him back in. So you see, you had like your impression of the Google Stadia is that it might fail. You don't have high hopes for it, and so I wanted to talk a little bit about that because I'm on the other end. I believe that Google either half-asses something or they go full force, and I personally believe I'm a data guy, like my job. There he is. He heard his name. Now WWF is out there. He heard us talking about him. Anyways, he heard it. Sometimes that whistle in the ear, But when Google goes full force, I mean, you have to think, right? They didn't have any access to PlayStation user data, Xbox user data, Twitch user data. So this is a new market. Fortnite comes in. Fortnite blows the lid off of this. Twitch is just exploding. Twitch is on every system. People are making millions of dollars on Twitch. Google's recognizing that. Google knows that they have 20% or less of the market share of streaming, right? Google, YouTube Live is just not, it's not the same. I mean, it's just as easy to stream to YouTube Live as it is to Twitch, but the audience isn't the same. Twitch has done it right. It's very simple. For some reason at YouTube, maybe it's just too much because there's so many different avenues and things you can get to. When you go to Twitch, it's the one thing you're going for is this live streaming. When you go to YouTube, it's a bevy of all these different things. But that's going to change, in my opinion. Google knows they need the data. They need to destroy Amazon before Amazon goes too far and gets more data than they have, than Google has. Data is the key. So what's your take? Have you had a chance to look at it a little bit more? Do you still feel that it's not as...
into it. I looked at what you sent me. I mean, like, I see what they're trying to do, like being able, like, hey, you can just plug this in wherever you are and play. But I don't see it taking off. Like when I saw like the Nintendo Switch, I was like, oh man, this thing is going to be crazy. You get 3 different play styles in one. It just doesn't take off. Like I don't think it's going to be able to compete on the same level as the powerhouses of PlayStation or Xbox.
Well, from a graphics point of view, it's supposedly going to come out the gate being better than the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, and on par with the next generation of systems, potentially the the PlayStation 5 and whatever they're going to call the next Xbox, probably the Xbox 16, I think. But yeah, I mean, so if the graphics are good, there's no installs. They say there's going to be no load times. You just pick the game you want to play. If you have the subscription to it, then you just open it up and you're there. Press one button and you're streaming live.
I don't know. I just don't. I don't think it's going to take off. I mean, I'd like to see them try to change my mind. I'd like to see things prove me wrong, but I don't know. I just don't think it's going to be able to compete with the Power Horse. I feel like the console war, people are so set on PlayStation or Xbox. I don't think they're going to switch.
I think that's the biggest part, though. In my mind, I'm seeing that it's not going to be a choice to switch. It's like they'll do some things free, even for those who, like, say Fortnite gets on the mix, right? And you can get into Stadia for free and play Fortnite for free. All you have to do is have a controller. Would you try it? No load times? You know?
Well, I mean, the next PlayStation, Xbox are also going to be 0 load times. That's like the big selling point of the next gen.
But there's a difference, and I gotta say, just as someone who goes, I can't stand it when you have a millisecond when you click the start button. You know what I mean? On your computer, if you click the start button and it takes a second before it pops up, like, that drives me nuts. The most impressive thing about Google, since Google has started, and, you know, Ace is saying here in chat, nothing is instant. Well, Google has the results of your question before you've even thought of it. You go type in the first letter of the question you're thinking, and like 9 times out of 15, the first thing that comes up is your question that you're about to ask. So I'd say Google has instant on their mind, and their servers, their data servers or data centers are scattered around the world in the best possible locations. They have some of the lowest latency in the world. I know Amazon also does, because Amazon hosts a lot of data centers for their cloud computing, and they're in government. You know, they have government contracts and stuff, so their stuff is no joke either. But Google has proven that when it comes to latency and speed and power, they've tackled that. You know what I mean? So if they can deliver what they're saying they're going to deliver, that being an instant experience I do believe, like what Ace is saying in the chat here, nothing is instant. So we always hope that it is what they say it is, and then, you know, you see on E3 the video of the quality of the game, and then you see the reality of it when it gets released. We will know in November. But if it is what Google is saying it's going to be, I think it's going to be a game changer. I think it's going to put people or companies like PlayStation and Xbox on a different level and make them have to do a bit more for their audience to keep the players. Because why would I buy a PlayStation 5 if I don't even have to pay the same amount of money, or if I don't have to pay anything, right, to have a Google Stadia account, and I can play in my car, I can play in my, you know, wherever I go. If it does work the way they say it's gonna, I think it could be a game changer.
I think the concept is nice, but I didn't even hear about it until you had said something. So the concept is there, but how is the marketing on it? Because I have no knowledge of it.
I think it's going to blow up like in a month, and then it's just going to dwindle out. I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's going to have the reach it needs. Because with consoles being how they are with game releases, I don't think a lot of things might not transfer over.
Well, it really comes down to what they want, right? Google has access to put anything in front of you. Unless you only are an Apple person. Sorry about the dog in the background, guys. I can't do nothing about that.
Well, they got the money, that's for sure.
They got the money, and if they truly are serious about it, they can skew the algorithms on their search engines and say, you know what, Xbox and PlayStation are going to appear a little bit lower on the list. Let's be frank, they can do it. I mean, they probably illegal, but they can do that kind of shit. And you know damn well they'll pay all the money they have to put their stuff from an advertising perspective when the time comes. I think you're 100% right regarding the marketing aspect. But Apex Legends wasn't marketed. It popped out of nowhere, and it was one of the number one games for quite some time. So if it's good and it's high quality and it does what they say it does, I don't think they need to spend a ton of money on marketing. I think word of mouth will be the most important thing there. But we'll see. Yeah, I think I'm with you guys on the idea that it's it's hard to believe it's possible to do what they're saying. But if they do, go ahead, Colton.
Oh, I was just gonna say that, Apex came out of nowhere and popped off for a while, but ultimately everybody. I mean, there's still obviously it's still a huge game and people still play it, but ultimately people still went back to Fortnite. They went back to their roots, you know.
But you know why?
I think Apex really fell off because of the limited amount of updates that they were following through with the game. Like I think season 1 was like 90-some days, and there's like 2 updates throughout the entire season. So it's kind of Fortnite changed the game with the fact that like people want new content now weekly or bi-weekly.
Yep. We talked a bit about this actually a couple months ago, and that actually I interviewed a guy named Troy Tuttle. He's the host of the Fortnite podcast, and he's at the World Cup this weekend, and he's met the people at Epic Games. They keep their game in alpha or beta or whatever state it's in, because in that state they can do perpetual updates without having to pay money, right? So that's why it says early access. It'll always be early access, because once it goes gold, then every time they want to do an update, they have to coordinate with Sony and deploy it on a regular schedule. I don't know. I don't think Apex Legends is early access. I think Apex Legends is a game. And I think EA, I think what we saw at the launch of Apex was a team of people who had a great product, who put it out in front of you. It was quality, it worked well, there were very few bugs, and yeah, there were things that needed to be adapted and altered, but that mentality of we want it now, and we're barking really loud, so you have to do it, that's so new. If you think about it in the landscape, Fortnite is one of the only games that can keep up with that somehow. That's what set the bar, and that's what made them so big to what they are today. Not only that, but they've put their game on every console you can, or every system possible, and you could be playing against anybody, someone on a handheld device or someone on the best computer in the world, all on the same playing field. Everyone starts off with no guns, and everyone starts off with the same thing. Apex, I think Apex got politics to knock them down a notch, personally. I think politics came in, and it was a long con type thing, where you have the developers who built the game, and it was a great game, and then you have people come along and say, we need to make money off this game. Yeah, you have a big audience. Let's get everyone to buy this Season 1 pass. And everyone bought the Season 1 pass, and they were pissed off about it. If Season 1 pass was good, there would have been a different reaction to the game itself. But because it was horrible, there was a lot of negativity, and that's when people flocked back to Fortnite. But the other thing, and this goes back to my whole point about Google, Fortnite has the data. They have more data than you can imagine on all these people, because they're so connected with everything. They're connected to Apple, they're connected to Google, they're connected to Microsoft, they're connected to every system. And you bet your ass that every single bit of data that they can get out of every system that they have connected to all these accounts, they are mining that data, they are selling it, and they're using it to their advantage. Data is more important than money, because with the data, they can control what people are doing in their game, and they know what's going to work and what doesn't work. You see Fortnite make a lot of bold moves, and a lot of people bark about it. They know well in advance if those moves are going to alter their player base or not. And just because Tfue or the streamers don't like it, it doesn't mean that the mass player base, which is freaking 13-year-old kids, 9-year-old kids, they have the future locked down for real. And it's really amazing to think about. I ran an ad on Instagram, and all I did was limit Fortnite. I just said, give me all people who like Fortnite. That was the only criteria. 96% of every person who saw that ad was under the age of 17. And so you can't see the data broken down any more than that. But I know my kid, if he had a phone, he would have gotten that ad, because he loves Fortnite. It's amazing to see, Wiley, you were saying earlier, 16 was the average age. Out of 100 people, the average age of the best players in the world are 16. That data, that amount of information is so important for the next 5 to 10 years for Epic Games. If they can continue to keep that audience even at 70% of what it is today, they can drive the culture for the next 10 years and beyond. And they could be, they're already a powerhouse, but they can lock it down even more. From a business and a financial standpoint, they can start to manipulate the people who are playing their games and say, oh yeah, you're going to like Marshmello. You're a country singer? Nope. You're now a Marshmello fan. And you don't even know it. You don't even know it because there's the sound bites, this, that. All of a sudden Marshmello's there and you're like, oh yeah, he's awesome. All my kids, all these kids love Marshmello. How the fuck do they put John Wick in the game? They put, that's keeping some of the adults in the game. They're using data, they're using marketing tactics that are unheard of in the gaming industry. It's working. They're staying on top. And 2 years ago, when I had this conversation with Joe, and we were saying, what do you think's going to knock them off? Well, Apex couldn't do it. There's probably nothing in the pipeline that's going to just wipe them out of off the map. So it's here to stay, I think, for a while. But data is key.
Yeah, it'd be pretty tough.
Yeah. They have to screw up royally. Or it just gets old. The whole concept. Maybe a different type of game comes out. For now, Battle Royale is still the king, and it's easy to watch from an esports perspective. And so they got a ways to go before that they get knocked off. So, your mic doesn't sound bad. Definitely not sleeping on Rocket League, Jose, but the watchability of Fortnite, and this is something Joe and I talked a lot about, was even a game like Apex. Every game is fun. I like watching people play Apex. Rocket League is fun to watch, but it's the same exact thing every time. The benefit that Fortnite has, a lot of people hate it, but the benefit is the building. And what the building does is every single game you watch of Fortnite is different. You get a different view of Fortnite. There's a different story, and it's laid out for your eyes to see. Whereas, the pathway and the kills and all that in Apex, every time you watch it, it looks the same. It might be fun. The person playing the game might keep you entertained, but it's the same thing every single time. Same with Call of Duty. That's how Call of Duty did not, Blackout. I think Blackout's a lot of fun, but again, there's no story being told or no story to walk up upon. Fortnite just has this amazing thing, and it's just a small piece of it. Oh, it's a big piece of it, but it's a small piece when you really think of it. They just added building and the ability to break things. Well, when Battlefield was coming out with their what was it called, Firepoint or whatever, when Battlefield was coming out with their Battle Royale, I got really excited because I know Battlefield put a lot of focus in building destruction. But that can't be the only thing. If you want to be able to hold people's attention and have them stick around for the next game and feel like maybe the next game's going to be a bit different. If you watch the World Cup today, every game was different, ended in different spots, and it's cool to see how that building progresses in these different locations and how these players get around the map, the mountains, or the dips, divots, the bad points to be, if you're at the absolute ground level and you got everyone above you, how do you turtle up? How do you hide if they know you're down there? And you got 30 people, spraying you from above. That can't happen in any other game, right? You can hide in a building in Apex, but there's only 2 doors to go in or out of or whatever. And so in Fortnite, you can create your own building. You can create your own hiding spots, and how well you are at that dictates how far you go in these games. So, anyways, here's my tangent, right? I've been talking for a while. Let me see where we're at here. Okay, we're an hour and 10 over, so let's start to bring it down a little bit. Let's get back to the future. What I want to hear a little bit, Acid, about what your next year. What's your goals for the next year, not just for LS5, but for yourself and for, from a personal and a productive aspect? What are you going to be doing?
All right. So for me personally, I mean, I'm working 2 jobs right now, and I also am going to school as a full-time student. So really, and I'm doing the Discord thing. So it's like almost 3 jobs plus school. But for me, man, I just want to pass my classes, which, I mean, it's not hard, but you got to put a lot of time into learning. I'm going for computer science and software engineering, so it's a lot of programming and learning all that stuff.
Yeah.
Over the year, I mean, I just want to keep kind of just stay on the path I'm on and keep pushing to like always find something that can better what we have going on and help in any way. And I mean, honestly, since we started doing this Discord, it's just like something I'm always thinking about, things that we can do to make it better for the people that are joining and help out the community and whatnot. So I think that's going to be a main focus. I want to get better at Rocket League. My boy Ace Rose is helping me out there. Tux and ADHT have helped me out a lot. I mean, like, other than that, just school and what we got going on now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, school's got to be first and foremost, man. And I I'll be there, and I'm sure the rest of us will be there to help you through those times. You know, if you need to lean on us to get something that you're trying to get done with the Discord, definitely don't ever hesitate to ask me for sure. And I know the other guys will feel the same way, and Jazzy. And, and Lady, we got a good team over here. So, make sure that you put a lot of focus on that, and we got your back. Nate, what about you? What's the next year for you?
Oh, the next year. So come this time next year, almost September, I'd really love to see this Discord be more than just a Discord. I would love to see it being turned into some type of small business where we start actually having these teams. And I'd love to be able to say that I'm done with my full-time, like, not like 8 to 4 job or whatever we're working, and just being able to put my every ounce of energy I have into running. I don't really care. Like, I love streaming. I love being interactive with my community. But man, I would love if I could just say I'm done streaming and just run a business and push the people that we have here, get the untapped potential that we have in our Discord out there and get their names known. I would love to turn it into something.
I'm totally with you there, man. I think it would be crazy to personally see it flourish in that way. I mean, not crazy, not impossible, just crazy. I think it would be crazy to see it happen. I don't know if you're familiar with, if you keep up with like all these teams and some of these teams out there that are putting together, I don't know how they got started or what caused them to be able to buy $100 million mansions and all that. But maybe it's the right place at the right time. Maybe it's the people backing them with funding, but we're doing this grassroots. We're doing this for real. And the people that we are doing this with, all the whole community, seem to be pretty heavily on board. Every day we're getting new people added to the list, and a lot of these new people are sticking around and being very vocal. I'm looking in my chat right now, and it's just such a mix of people that are coming from all different areas, and it's working. You know what I mean? What you guys have laid out, what I've joined into, it is working. And I know for sure that we aren't quitting anytime soon. And if we continue even at just the pace we're at, oh, thanks, Acid, appreciate that. If we continue at the pace we're at, we're going to go places. In a year, it's going to be a lot different landscape. But we're also, every time we add a new person, if we can keep them heightened up with energy and hyped up to rep the LS5, brand or tag, it's going to grow exponentially. You know what I mean? So, and it already is starting to. So as we get more people, the line starts to, go up faster and faster and faster. But it can't just be about the numbers. It's got to be about making sure that what we're doing as a team is beneficial to everybody who's in it. And so I appreciate the fact that you guys, just the whole team, all of us involved, are constantly thinking of that. It's not a selfish thing. All of us are talking about, in all these board meetings and all these things that we have, we're talking about how we're helping you guys that are watching us. we truly, that's the mindset. And so my commitment, my next year looks very similar to what you were saying, Nate, in that it would be awesome if we could turn this into an actual business so that not only we just try our best to hype everyone up, but we actually have a responsibility to do so. Once you put your name on a piece of paper, the fun and games go out the window, and it's now serious. I think we've already hit the serious level amongst us, but at the same time, there is a different aspect when taxes are being collected and whatnot. So things are growing fast. I can't wait to hang out with you guys at TwitchCon. I absolutely
it's gonna be
cannot wait.
blessed.
I feel like I already know you guys personally. I've never met you in real life, and but I feel like I have, and I only think I've seen your face once, Acid. So
I told Kush the other day that it's gonna be a mystery to everybody.
Who the fuck is that guy? Why is he walking around?
Not everybody.
Well, except for Nate. Nate knows who I am.
My nephew will be there, right? I'm going to be visiting him, and we can just say that he's Acid, and you'll just be the guy in the background.
Who is this guy?
Who is that guy? You could have a Milli Vanilli. My nephew will play the part, put on the Acid shirt. But yeah, I really do think that TwitchCon's going to be big. I think you guys, I think all of us are just so psyched. And guys, for those of you watching, Nate's been putting a lot of time into thinking of different things that we can have to, hand out merch and stuff like that. So keep an eye out. I'm sure we'll communicate it, whether it be via the Discord or, the Instagram page. Make sure you're following all of our stuff. You can find us at LeakySquad on all social media. We do have our YouTube standing up. Don't be afraid when you get there. There isn't anything there. Okay. There's going to be stuff there soon, and then we're going to start highlighting content from LS5. We're going to start putting it out there. We have LeakySquad.com. So you'll be able to go to LeakySquad.com to view, or what's the best way to put it? It's going to be a community outside of the community. A lot of times when you're in Discord, it's just flooded, right? It's chat. It goes past you. It's hard to get back to a conversation you might have been having with a group of people. Well, we're gonna introduce potentially message boards and things like that for a more static conversation. Probably migrate some of the things like Q&A and help requests and things like that. Okay, cool. Yep, gotcha. But so we'll migrate some of that stuff out into that. But stay tuned. Make sure you bookmark LeakySquad.com. You got Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, all at LeakySquad. Oh, yeah, if you're not following Leaky Squad on Twitch, follow, because we're going to start hosting Leaky Squad members. And Nate, before we wrap it up, tell them about the contest we have. I think we have a couple days left on that contest.
Oh, yeah. Over on player.gg, we have the first ever LS5 giveaway with some you'll be like the very first person to receive some LS5 merch. It is going until the end of the month, so it ends on Wednesday. So you have a few more days to get in there. If you're looking to get in there, it's at player.gg/itswhythecoyote/LS5.
And real quick, this is an awesome site that I only heard about a couple weeks ago. Guys, to enter, basically a lot of different actions get you tickets. Just by following us on Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff, you're getting yourself tickets. The more you do, the more tickets you get, the more chances you have to win. They do it very easily. Everything's right there. So if you're like, oh shit, I don't know where to go to follow Kevin, well, you just click the button. It'll bring you right to my Instagram. You follow me, you go back, it confirms it, you get a point or whatever, right? And so Nate's gone ahead and put this all together, and it's really well done. Very easy for you all to enter. I think we have a bunch of entries. And so we have some good merch coming out. Definitely got an awesome logo to represent, and there's going to be plenty more where that came from. So I know we got things to do here tonight. We got to wrap it up. It's been an awesome podcast. I really do appreciate both of you joining. And
thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Colton, Nate, really appreciate it. If you're not following these guys, I'll put their links in the show notes for those of you who are just listening audio only. But Jazzy or whoever, I know you've been spamming them, but if you could just spam them again, make sure everyone here is following these two on Twitch. If you could just throw a shout out to both Acid and Wiley. Again, I don't know if there's anybody in this chat that isn't following you guys already. It looks like probably everybody here is. Oh, it can't hurt. Can't hurt to throw it out there. Alrighty, well, this has been an awesome episode number 66 of the Backlog Podcast, the official podcast of the LS5 community. I am your host, Kevin. This was Nate, this was Colton, and we are out. Thank you very much.